Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. I am not an expert on all these tools. This is somebody else's presentation called AI Better 2024. They had 10 different presenters in this. They each presented one AI that they were an expert on. And so I know some of them. And some of them, I'm just going to show you the slide and not even pretend to go act like I know that one because I know my limitations and I would just scoop it all up. So I'm going to go through the major ones. I'm going to highlight some and show some of the differences between some of them and why I'm starting to get away from some and go towards others. So that's kind of the thing. I'm going to go through a lot of different tools on this one. There are tons of AI tools out now. Last year there was just ChatGPT. Last year, if you used Canva or went to a Canva class, there was not AI integrated inside Canva. Now there's tons of AI integrated in Canva. If you took a Canva class last year and haven't been in it in a while, it's got image creation tools. It's got all kinds of AI integrated inside of it. It's really awesome. So I'm not going to go through all these. The class I just gave was on Dippet. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that because, well, I think this was the best tool I came away with from all of them, from OETC 24, which is why I did a whole class on it. And I want to hit it today for those that weren't there, but I'm going to go through kind of all of them. There's even more. This chart kind of broken down between the different kinds of things you can do with it. And it's only going to get bigger as we move forward, and probably many of them are going to get more specific. So last year we showed you ChatGPT. ChatGPT has evolved. It was on 3.0 last year. It's on 3.5 now, with 4.0 being the paid version. So 3.5 looks at 175 billion different things, and 4.0 looks at 1.5 trillion. Part of that is because the paid version is current as of like last month. It's always reading things, and it knows the current websites, whereas 3.5, the free version that I use, is looking at 2 years ago and back. It does not know the year 23 ever happened. So if you're looking for something really current, ChatGPT is a bad option for you. If you're looking for ideas, ChatGPT still works. The downside to me of ChatGPT has been its unreliability with citations and links. If I go to ChatGPT and I've got a lesson text that I'm going to throw into multiple different ones asking for the same thing, if I go and say, and I'm saying, this is what I'm asking for, by the way. I'm a high school teacher in Ohio. I need a lesson on how to install a hard drive in a computer. Please provide links, images, video, and questions for the lesson. So, I have yet to ever have a video from ChatGPT work. Not once have I ever gotten ChatGPT to do that. I have yet to have an image that ChatGPT links to work. However, in general, and you see it's got, hey, here's some links. You can go to these. I feel like all it did was turn them blue, because my experience has been, and we'll see what happens if I click on that, absolutely nothing happens. If I click on that link, absolutely nothing happens. If I go to the list, absolutely nothing happens. Okay, so although it did make me a lesson, it did give me materials, it gave me instruction, demonstration, guided practice. I asked for questions, it kind of gave me some questions. It didn't give me the answers to the questions. ChatGPT, and I learned this out. If you like ChatGPT, one of the things you can go down here is you can click on your name and go to customize, and you can tell it things about how you want answers to be done, and it will assume this in every single time you use ChatGPT. So I went to put in, I'm a teacher in Ohio. All my lessons should be ODE standards, grades 9 through 12. So theoretically, if you do that, then you don't have to say that every time, because it's going to assume that for every single one of the chats you open with ChatGPT, which is nice. It's one of the few ones that let me do that. And I just learned about that at the conference, as a matter of fact. It still does some great things. However, when it comes to building a lesson, I found ChatGPT to be lacking. Diffit, which I'll get to, does a way better job of giving me videos and links and citations and relevant material for a class. ChatGPT still has done the best at, if I needed to know how to program the website for the sign so it rotates every 5 minutes back and forth between the high school, the elementary school, and the middle school, ChatGPT was on. But I'm not sure if it is the best tool for everything. It'll still grade an essay for me. It'll give me a summary of an essay for me. It'll let me put in a rubric and grade an essay, which it is great for because then it's using what you just gave it. It's not going out to the internet to try to cite anything. It's doing an evaluation on something you gave it. ChatGPT has been great on that. If you have a student write an essay and say, grade this essay to 9th grade Ohio standards using this rubric, it will do it and give you all the rubric scores back and give you a summary of what it thought about that essay. It's pretty cool. But the fact that I'm not paying for the premium, which also means sometimes I can't even log on, because if enough people are logged on, premium people get priority, and then you don't even get logged on to ChatGPT. ChatGPT was the original. It still is nice. However, other ones are catching up with it. Gemini is number 2 on the list of big ones. It is Google's AI. It used to be called Bard, and they just recently, in the last 2 months, changed the name of it to Gemini. It is current, as opposed to ChatGPT. It's not looking at only old data. This one's looking at all data. However, I can go to the same thing. I'm going to do the exact same prompt that I did with ChatGPT. It looks darn similar. And I'm asking again for questions, images, videos, and links. It is better than ChatGPT on some of them. Are you still generating? So you can see it actually has pictures that worked, that showed up inside the lesson. Gave you little safety tips down here at the end. I'm looking for, here's a quick quiz. Use a short video to assess. It didn't actually do it, right? There's no link to a short video. There's no questions for the quiz. Bard does okay. At least I got a picture, right? And a link to Reddit, which is one of the least reliable websites to use as a reference. It's kind of like referring to some website that one of our 7th grade students made. Probably not the best one because anybody can post to Reddit, so I don't think that's great. And I asked for a video and I got no videos. So the difference between Bard and ChatGPT is you're getting more current stuff and it's integrated straight in with Google, but it looks very much like ChatGPT in my opinion. It does, however, allow you to search for YouTube videos, and those links have worked. The best of the big 3 so far, to me, has been Copilot. Microsoft Copilot is relatively new. It integrates with Office 365, with Word and Excel and PowerPoint, and it does very much the same thing as the other 2 big ones. I can go in there and put the same prompt in there. And when I did this yesterday, I actually got links to videos that actually worked. So of the big 3, when I did this particular test, I was actually much happier with Copilot than I was with the other ones. Now, I said that Copilot links with Office 365, and that is a true statement. However, we won't be having that premium feature. I went and asked for a quote because I thought it was really cool. They won't even let you trial it. You have to pay for it to even see it. So I'm like, okay, how would you know that you want to do it? And it's $30 per month per person to use that feature. And I thought I was like, no, I want the educational pricing. And they said, that is the educational pricing. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we won't be seeing a lot of that being used in education. So I wasn't really happy with that part of it. However, you can see if I click on a link, it provides me a link. Here's another one. They actually are working.
Hi, and welcome back to This Bites for You.
How to install a hard
If you can
drive,
insert something into
which is one of the things that Copilot gave me that the other ones you just saw did not. I specifically asked for video. I specifically did not get any working videos from either Bard or ChatGPT. Copilot, again, is free unless you want to use the premium features, which then you can work out $30 per month to use. And that seems, to me, it's prohibitive for any school to do that. I was really surprised they didn't have some really small price or for it to be completely free for education in order to get people ingrained in it to want to do it when they leave education. But that's neither here nor there. They just didn't like that option, I guess, for us. So that's Copilot. So ChatGPT, Bard, and Copilot are similar, but I really did find Copilot to give me the best. When I actually wanted links to videos, Copilot actually gave me working. ChatGPT will give you links if you ask for a link to a YouTube video, and I've never had one work. So that's the same as not giving you a link, in my opinion. It does the normal things that both the other two do. All three of those are great for brainstorming ideas. All three of those are great for getting feedback. You can use it to do virtually anything, but with those limitations. So I don't think that's the way to go, which is why I did a whole session on Diffit. I think if you are looking for one to use in education, Diffit is the one that is the best. It says it gives just right instructional materials with links to content and assessments. And I'm going to show you the same thing I showed the last class on Diffit. And just so you know, we're probably going to buy the premium version of Diffit because it also is the most reasonable in price and gives us the best stuff. So I'm going to show you Diffit. And I'm going to ask the exact same thing of Diffit. And by the way, they give you 2 months of premium for free. So if you log on right now, you're going to get premium, and it's going to stay premium because we have to buy it in order to get the early adopter price by the end of March. So you're never going to lose your premium features. So don't feel afraid to do that. Diffit looks very simple, and it is. It's a very easy to look at website. It almost looks like there's nothing there. It almost bothers me that it's just white with gray text because I want something snazzier, but at the same time, it's really, really easy. So in this one, you have 3 options. I'm going to show you literally anything first. You just say what the topic, and I'm going to say computer hard drive installation, and I've got my caps locks on, so it looks all funny. But anyways, and then I can pick what grade level and language, and I'm going to say 9th grade, and I'm going to say generate. That's all there is to it. You give it a topic. The more defined your topic is, the more defined the answer is going to be. If I just said computers, I'm not going to get a good lesson because if you wouldn't just say social studies and say, I want a lesson on social studies. You'd say it on one specific thing. I want it on Colonial Williamsburg. I want it on the Gettysburg Address, whatever. So you want to kind of be specific on what you're asking for or the subject, and it will be more specific on the output. The great thing about Diffit is it's giving, in my opinion, their thing of just right educational materials is 100% spot on. It's going to give us a reading, a summary. It's going to give us questions. It's going to give us images. It's going to give us essay prompts. Here we go. Okay, so it's got a whole bunch of pictures. I got a whole bunch of choices on the side that I can use for pictures in this lesson if I wanted to. I go down, and it shows how badly I typed that. It has a reading passage right here that I can read for this lesson. In all these, I can hit show sources, and I actually find where it found that. And the links of where it found that information actually work. So I can go and see where did that come from, and I can actually read the source material as well just by hitting show sources up top. So each one, you can see those footnotes
or endnotes right there in there. I can go and edit. I can change the text any way I want to, and I can hit copy and I can use that somewhere else. So that's the adapted reading passage. Again, I can change the grade or the reading level anytime. I can just go back up here and say, oh no, I meant to say 10th grade or 5th grade or whatever. And it'll regenerate that reading. I get a summary of it. It's a very short, concise summary. And then I get a list, and again, I can edit it. And I get a list of key vocabulary words, and it gives 5. But I want more vocabulary words, so I'm going to hit add vocabulary words. I want 10. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to add 5 more, and I'm going to hit generate, and it's going to find 5 more vocabulary words from that lesson to add in there. If I don't like the word internal in my thing, I can go and just take that, and I can delete it if I want. Oh, here's the X right over there, because I don't like that word inside my vocabulary list. I can also say add and say, oh, you forgot the word SATA in there, and you forgot the word PETA, and you forgot IDE in there. I want those vocab words in there. And I can say generate, and now it's going to add those 3 words into my vocabulary list and add the definitions of them inside there as well. My son's IEP says he's supposed to get vocab ahead of lessons so that he gets a chance to read and see those words ahead of time. How hard is that to generate your vocabulary list? It's going to tell you words. You can go, I know what that one, I know what that one. And you can add them just by adding the word, and it goes. Again, I can edit the definition if I want to in here. If I don't like the definition they came up with, I can change the reading level if I wanted to more simplify it as well. That is something that none of the other tools do, like Diffit. And again, my OCD bothers me on this, by the way. It doesn't do them in alphabetical order, and I don't know who would want a vocab list not in alphabetical order, but if I go and hit edit, I can go and change the order of the words really easily if I wanted to go and change the order of those vocabulary words, because that would bother me. Next thing down is multiple choice questions. It always defaults to 3. I can go and add more questions if I want just by hitting add question, and it says, do you want this to be simple reasoning, strategic thinking, or external thinking? I want 2 more that are strategic thinking, and I want them to go ahead and generate those, and boom, it's going to think up 2 more questions on there. Again, I can delete them. If I don't know the answer, I can hit show answer, so I can print out a key for myself. I can edit them if I don't like the way that something is phrased. I can edit any of these questions on here, and again, I can just I don't like that one, so I'm going to delete that one from my list. That's pretty cool too. Down next one is short answer questions. If I'm building a Moodle quiz and I like to have essay questions, I can have some short answer questions on here. I can do the same thing. I can say add, and I can give my own, or I can say add, give me 3 more, and it gives me 3 more options. I don't have to use my own creative skills to think of it, but I am going to go through and delete the ones that I don't like. And then there's open-ended writing prompts that you could use for an essay as well, or write me an MLA essay on this. All that was from typing in the word at the top. All I typed in was computer hard drive installation. And it saves every one I ever do up top. I can go to my resources and see every lesson I've ever done later. Or I can start a new one. And when I'm done and I'm like, I like everything this made, I can hit the get student activities, and it has all this list that keeps going and going and going of student activities that it will generate for me. And if on all that list you don't find something you like, at the bottom it says, hey, do you want something else? Let us know, and you can ask for something specific that maybe you do. So if I want to generate this Google slide on the vocabulary, all I do is hit that, and it will go and say, hey, do you want to open this with slides? Yep. And it's going to go and generate a Google slide show that I can go and use in class or print out and hand out, depending on how I do it with my class. I could have this be a shared copy only that all the kids click on in my middle class. They all get their own, and they have to fill in the answers in it. And it's a guided note-taking exercise that they do inside my class. And you can see now if I hit open in Google Slides, I've got this slideshow that has directions, has the directions, has pictures that they can fill in the guided notes as I'm going through this lesson, word map, and you get the idea. We got all this stuff that it just generated. I can delete whatever I want, use whatever I want in my class. The only thing is, on this generate activities, only the print or save as PDF is free. All the rest of them are premium features, all the integrations with Google, which is why I think it's important that we go to the free version, because some of these other activities here, which I could spend a whole class going through, are what makes Diffit really cool. And like I said, I can go when I'm done, I could say, I'm going to make an IEP version of this. I'm going to go and regenerate it at 3rd grade, and it's going to regenerate everything I just did at a 3rd grade level for maybe I've got an IEP student that the IEP said reads at a 3rd grade reading level, and I've got those same activities for that person that I can use for that individual. So that is Diffit, and again, that to me was the one that I took away from OETC as the unquestionable best tool for educators. So I highly recommend you take a look at that. I already sent out the video from last class. School AI is one that lets you interact with AI characters from history, and you can go and put in the design the character that you want, and then so you can see the different characters that are on here, and you can go and say, I want my students to be able to talk to George Washington. In School AI, you can go and tell it what kind of activity you want them to do, and then they can interact and interview George Washington. You can see it's free to teachers. They're called spaces. So you can go and discover other spaces that other people have designed. You don't have to design your own. So if I want to discover a space, I can go down and look at, okay, history comes to life. We'll go and see what we've got. We'll go to George Washington. And hopefully I'm going to get a picture that looks here in a second. Oh, there, it's already up there. It came down. So this is where I could make an activity, and then the students will go and be able to talk to George Washington and ask George Washington questions. And supposedly it's loaded with the information from George Washington's life and the things he did in his life, so that the students would be able to have an interactive lesson where they're actually interacting with a historic figure, which I thought was pretty cool. If I was a social studies teacher, I would probably play with School AI and possibly an English teacher as well for that kind of lesson. So I thought that was a really cool one that could engage some students that don't get engaged in a more typical lesson, and they might be able to learn something about history and English that maybe is a little bit different. Magic School AI was the second one on my list. However, when I just got the quote for Magic School AI, I was very unhappy with their pricing. They were a lot more expensive than we would have wanted to pay for one tool. However, it is also free. The difference between Diffit and Magic School, Diffit looks and is a far simpler interaction with the tool. So I think it's easier for anybody to pick up Diffit. Magic School has tons of kind of tools that you pick all of them separately, whereas Diffit says here's everything you're going to need. The thing is with their basic free feature, which I am already on, because they only give you 2 weeks of free premium, you can't edit anything after the fact. Once you get an output, that is it, and then you can do with what you want to with that. It has a ton of tools. If I go through, you can see there's a whole bunch of different tools, and then you can just star the ones you like, and they stay up top. So if I wanted to make a multiple choice assessment on a topic, I can go in here and say, I want it for 9th grade, I want 10 questions, and I want it on installing computer. I have that. I still have my caps lock. Or wait, it's making all. So then it just generates. So
It does the same thing that Diffit did. It's just you have to go in and say, okay, now I want to make an assessment. Okay, now I want to make a lesson. So you kind of have to come in and out of the different tools with Magic School. Although it's still nice. You can see it just made a 10. And this one, like I said, is also it's directed at us, which is one of the things that's nice. You can have it make a lesson plan, summarize text, make your directions more concise and clear. You can put them in and ask me, please make these more clear. It will generate labs for you. If you're a science teacher, you can say specifically what you want them to learn, and it will come up with a lab for you to try to teach them with a hands-on lab on how to do that. It will summarize YouTube, which, I got to go back to Diffit. I'm sorry. I didn't even go to the other two things that Diffit does. I showed you literally everything. This one does the same thing. Sorry, I bounced around. This one, any article or video, basically this one you just put in the URL of a website or a YouTube, and it will generate all those same activities based on that website or that YouTube. So if you've got something you wanted them to read, you always have them go out and read this article, you can just have them do that. It'll summarize the whole article, give you all the text from the article, come up with questions for the article. Same thing with the YouTube video. And then this one is any text or excerpt. You can either paste test in here or upload a PDF file there, and it will summarize it, give you the text from it, give you all the questions from it, straight from off an upload. So those are the other two things that I forgot to point out. The outputs are exactly the same. It's just how do you get to it. The nice thing about this that I really like is that on all of these other things, we don't know necessarily where it's getting the information, whereas on these two, you're saying, here's the information that I want them to do. Here's a chapter of To Kill a Mockingbird. Here's one section of my social studies, and I just plop it in there and say, summarize it, make me vocab, whatever you needed from that section. I forgot to mention that again. So Magic School AI, again, the only difference is it's I'm already on the basic version. So if I do one of these things, I can't go back and then say I want to change questions or anything. It's just this is what you got. You have to restart the generation all over again to try to get something else. So, but it has some really cool tools in it as well. It's definitely worth looking at. It's just we're not going to be paying for the premium features on Magic School. Goblin Tools is one that I haven't played with a lot, but the whole point of Goblin Tools is to make overwhelming things simpler. So you can put in anything that says, developed for neurospicy individuals who struggle with difficult or overwhelming tasks. It's for your IEP and your 504 kids. It breaks things down into the that one's not. Let's do this one. But Goblin Tools is to break those things down. It asks you how much you want to break it down and how many steps you want to break things down into, and that's the whole point of this one. It's this one's all free, and that's the whole point of that one, is to break things down and make it more simple. I did not play with a lot, although I watched a bunch of classes on it. If you're an IEP teacher or you have a bunch of IEP kids, it's definitely one that you might want to look into. And if I was an IEP teacher, I'd probably look into it and then help my regular teachers look at how they might be able to use that for particularly your ADHD and your kids on the spectrum that maybe some tasks are just too complex for them and you want to break it down into smaller pieces. ArtFlow is just that. It's a way to turn text into both video and images. They demoed this one. It was really cool. The number of things that it would do for us. So if you wanted to say, I want a person in a Civil War outfit in the planes fighting, and it would generate it was kind of cool, all the things that it was able to generate. It does short videos as well, like 1 minute, but they were still pretty cool. So if almost anyone could use that as supplemental material in any class, or if you wanted to do a slide or something to supplement something. I thought ArtFlow was really cool. We've had 3 classes on Canva today. I'm not going to go completely over Canva, but it has added this Magic Studio, and in the Magic Studio, it has all kinds of cool tools that have been added to Canva. If you didn't already see them, I think this link works. Yeah, it does. How do I get your sound working, Jody? I'll just turn it on. Let's see. It's on. It's on. I'm not gonna watch 2 hours of this, but oh, it's on this. Very good. We're not gonna watch 2 hours of Magic Studio. I promise.
Oh, this one.
Still not good.
Hello and welcome to
Oh, okay.
Flutter.
Now I've gone too far, and I'm not going to jump all the way through there, so I'm going to go ahead and go back. Because I thought it was a shorter thing on the Magic Studio. CuraPod is one of the other new ones that I have not gotten a chance to, but it's supposed to take a set of slideshows and curify them to make them have different activities and stuff based on having a slideshow or a slide deck already that's supposed to make it more engaging for students, and it's supposed to do all that automatically. Again, I didn't get a chance to play with CuraPod at all, but the person who presented it acted like it was the best thing since sliced bread, so I wanted to show that one real fast, but it makes existing slide decks more interactive for students. Educate.ai to me was okay. It did the same thing as, it's just another competitor with Diffit and MagicSchool.ai. It didn't really do a lot different things than what I already saw on the other 2. And I only have it on here because it was on their presentation. I kind of felt like some of these were competing tools. It does the same kind of lesson plans, resources, and assessments that Diffit did. Claude is one that's made for you. It kind of doesn't have its own information. It's one that you go and load it into and then allows you to change that. So you could, for instance, load the entire book of Frankenstein in there and have it rewrite the book, telling it the character instead is rewrite this book with the character being a goblin, and the goblin's name is Fred, and Fred's dad is, and it will basically generate and rewrite text that you go and put in. So it says it's trained on real time. You upload stuff and then tell it how you want to modify it. You could literally probably take Lord of the Rings and remake a Lord of the Rings with AI, and although that would be way too many words because it's way bigger than Frankenstein is. But anyway, you get the idea. That's what Claude does. If you've got something that you want them maybe to update a story that's already been written that they read that maybe is more engaging to them, you could take an existing book and have it rewrite the book. I went the wrong way, sorry. Character AI is a character generator based on profile. Is that the one that you said Luke was using in class? Was he using character AI?
No, we was using the Microsoft one.
Oh, okay. So it allows you to create characters and then talk with those characters. It says you can role play, pretend to be someone else, interact with characters in different scenarios. It's kind of cool. So you could say that it's Sherlock. You're talking with Sherlock Holmes and have it
try to work through a. Be kind of cool for a for a what did you say? For what's the thing where you're locked in the room?
Oh,
Escape
Escape room. It would be kind of cool for an escape room to have it so they have to interact with characters and stuff as part of the escape room thing. Character I might add a whole new level of things for the kids to do along with that. Those are the only ones I thought were worth mentioning. And like I said in the last session, really dip it. If you haven't had a chance to look at dip it, and it's probably one of the best ones. And I have started to really respect the Microsoft tool a lot more since it's done a way better job, particularly finding videos and stuff for me to use that actually worked, finding pictures and videos related to something. I'm done early. I apologize.
One.
Does anybody have any questions? If not, we're finished. If you don't have any questions, yes, Dan.
I don't have a question.
You don't have any questions?
No.
Yeah.
What was the number there with historical figures?
That is the school AI. School AI.
Did you see that work, Brian?
Oh, did you? Oh, sorry.
Did you see the school AI work that they showed?
Yeah, they showed it in the thing. I wish I had a
You need
video.
a mic, right? Your class ask questions to the guy, and
They are having them. They have them respond.
so you just set up a mic and
No, they were typing. They didn't have them.
oh, they weren't talking.
Yeah, they were typing.
How by that for half?
It was all textual when I went to the demo they did.
So each kid can have his laptop.
Yeah, and that's what the things that you can have it. You can set one up and you can share it to your class, and they all have their own conversation going with George Washington.
Oh, okay. So they're individual.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought it would be big class.
I didn't. They didn't demo that. If it does, they had it. So you set up an activity or space, and then you share your space to your kids, and they all have their own conversation going on
With George Washington.
with George or whoever. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think we should all go down to Dis's Canvas session, right?